Alrighty, everybody. Minister Brother Derek here. I just went through this real. I put the food away, y'all. Sorry about that. Oh, crap. That's my fault. I'm making a new window.
Costello and Kelly Swoop.
The sight downtown, huh?
Yeah, how about it?
A handful of cars ripping through downtown Baltimore last night, leaving only skid marks right outside police headquarters.
Look at them right behind us. At WMAR2 News, Abby Isaacs reports police are investigating several car clubs from outside the city.
I've never seen anything like this before. Never.
It was Sunday night around 10:30. Mike Klein was driving home down President Street to get on 83 when a bunch of cars shut down the intersection.
All these cars are doing donuts, and I'm like freaking out. So I call 911, of course, and they left me on hold. I got put on hold on 911. I couldn't believe it.
After a couple minutes, the operator told him they were sending an officer, but Klein never saw one. He says after he got over the initial shock of it all, he noticed the group had people out directing traffic to make sure no one got hit.
Those are the people that were trying to guide us through not getting hit by one of those cars. They had their own guards. I mean, what's are they taking over the city? Like, what's going on?
And it was all playing out right in front of police headquarters.
They just started going crazy.
I took y'all down there
for the police
overnight.
station. Of course, no police in sight. I know they're busy. I know they're trying to do their best, but where were the police on this?
According to BPD, officers were monitoring disturbances from car clubs downtown and on MLK Boulevard this weekend. They're working with surrounding jurisdictions to prepare for when they get information that the clubs are entering the city. Officers are investigating the vehicles to issue citations. Another person I spoke to off camera told me they've seen incidents like this play out across the city, but this feels targeted.
They're sending a message, right?
In Baltimore, Abby I.
One hour ago, breaking news.
So that press conference just wrapped up with Anne Arundel Police Department. And what I can confirm to you right now is that a 21-year-old female was found dead about half-mile from where we're standing right now outside of a park. Let's pull up that scene video that we have from the chopper, which shows you exactly where this all played out around 4:30 this afternoon. The victim's name, according to police, is 21-year-old Ayanna Walker. A 16-year-old boy was also found with gunshots. He was taken by by a third party to a hospital here locally, and from there was transported to shock trauma. He is getting some treatment right now. Detectives are trying to figure out what connection, if any, he had with Ayanna, the 21-year-old woman who was found dead at the scene. What I can tell you in terms of what we know about the details of the shooting is that there was a dispute between the victims and those shooting. It's a little loose on the details about the suspects. What we do know is that there were potentially 2 males involved who left. They're trying to work out whether those people left on foot or they got in a car and drove away. Both options are happening right now. They're interviewing many people at the scene, again, which is about a half mile from where we are now. WJZ is going to get there on the scene and talk with some neighbors about what they may have heard and saw and flesh out more details about what exactly played out here.
You ain't even safe in front of the police station.
County. I'm Christina Mendez for WJZ.
Yeah. You ain't even safe in front of the police station.
After a weekend of violence left them terrified.
Yeah, Baltimore City's Police Commissioner Michael Harrison says this violence left many communities traumatized and unsettled, even for the people working hard to fight violence.
WMER2 News' Brittany Werner live for us tonight outside police headquarters with reaction from community and city leaders alike discussing all this violence. Brittany.
Yeah, well, there were 9 shootings this past weekend and 7 people died as a result of those shootings. And one of those incidents, however, it was a quadruple shooting where 3 people were killed. Now neighbors in that area are speaking out, asking for help from city leaders to combat the crime in their communities. Now, this past Saturday, shortly after 8 p.m., many neighbors in Northwest Baltimore were left devastated after hearing the gunshots that claimed the lives of 3 people right in their neighborhood. Balloons now fly where those people lost their lives. Police say on Saturday near Liberty Heights and Gwen Oak Avenue, 4 people got shot. A man in his 70s was injured, and 26-year-old Darian Savoy. Police say the driver was one of those homicide victims who crashed into the person's home after being shot. The president of the neighborhood, Howard Park Neighborhood Association, says incidents like this is why they're asking for help from city leaders.
It makes me not want to even come up here. So I got to watch myself now. I probably won't be coming up here too much no more.
Now, Commissioner Harrison says in the midst of all of these shootings, there were also 21 robberies throughout the city that happened this past weekend. Officers, however, did make 11 arrests. 8 of them were for handguns and 3 of them were for robberies. Today, also, the department had 22 new recruits who started. Harrison says this is part of the strategy to have more cops on the streets for safer communities for everyone. Reporting live downtown, Brittany Werner, WMAR 2 News.
All right, thanks, Brittany. You know, we focus on the city's murder statistics, but the victims are also somebody's parent, sibling, or child. Some are people who worked in the community, like Deshaun McGreer, who was part of the city's Safe Streets program. He was killed back in January. We have a page dedicated to honoring those we've lost who lost their lives to violence in Baltimore. You can see their names, their faces at WMER2news.com/notjustanumber.
All right, what up?
So that press
I
conference.
mean, I saw something. Where did it go? Yeah, I watched this again, y'all. Remember this from last night? Those guys over here. It was hilarious.
And then you can see it right there, the suspect trying to get into somebody's property or still trying to hide, but doing a very, very poor job of it right there. LAPD coming to a stop. Oh, come on, guys. He's right there. The officer's running right by him. They're going right by him. Angie, our pilot today, talking on O2, trying to tell the officers that this suspect is right there. And again, you just saw that. Oh my goodness, I just feel so bad for those officers making their way back now. It's the blue car. There we go. Somebody's getting the information. Somebody's got to be getting the information. Keep coming around, Ange. Keep coming around. Keep coming around. That suspect, unbelievable. We're watching this live, and you have to understand that these officers, they don't know what the information that we know. But again, that LAPD helicopter just arriving. There you go. Some of those officers must be getting that information. There you go. There you go. And now that suspect going into custody. Wow. Wow. And they haven't seen him yet. This is unbelievable. There we go. Oh, my gosh.
That's just comical. That's why they want to pull you over in a car. They look stupid. We're seeing the same video clips over and over again. Well, let's hear what he got to say. Oh, no. What happened?
Emergency lights and caution tape blocked off the Royal Park Bridge. Police say a woman was walking her bike across the drawbridge. That's when she fell through a gap in the road.
The woman tried to hang on. There was a bystander nearby who tried to help her, but tragically she fell about 5 to 6 stories below where she died, landing on concrete.
Palm Beach police say the woman was 10 feet from the end of the bridge when it started lifting.
There is a bridge tender, and that bridge tender has certain safety protocols to follow, specific safety protocols. That includes lowering of the gates for the vehicles, lowering of the gates for the pedestrians, and making several visual confirmations that there is nobody on either of the spans or past those gates.
While police look into what went wrong, bicycle safety advocates like Juan Oriana says the Royal Park Bridge is highly trafficked.
Palm Beach is accessible only through 3 bridges, and this is the main bridge, so it is very used by cyclists.
Oriana says the bridge is equipped with barriers and bells, alerting people when the bridge is about to go up.
For one thing, you will hear the bell before even the arms go down. So when you hear the bell, you got to get out of the way before the bridge goes up.
West Palm Beach police say they are still investigating, but advocates urge everyone to be alert and aware.
Always drive defensively. Always be aware of your surroundings. See what is going on, because it's our life that we're playing with sometimes.
Police tell me this is still an active investigation, and they will be going through surveillance video. As for the bridge, it was able to reopen after about 6 hours. Reporting in West Palm Beach, Joe Lopez, WPTV, News Channel 5.
Thanks for watching our YouTube.
How you driving? All right. Wait a minute. How long ago was that? Here's a similar story. It's a little bit older, but similar story.
Following the tragic death of 79-year-old Carol Wright, Contact 5 discovered other frightening incidents on bridges. We received a remarkable video through a public records request from Palm Beach County. The Lantana Intercoastal Bridge last October. A car drives on the bridge as the gates close behind him. The driver then stops at the edge of the bridge. Fast forward 33 seconds. The bridge begins to open, with the driver still behind the wheel. The bridge lifts the vehicle, where it teeters over a pit with a 40-foot drop. Appearing panicked, the driver opens the door. Gravity slides the car forward, and it slams into the roadway below. The bridge closes, and the unidentified driver gets back into his car and drives away. The bridge tender on duty last October, a now former Palm Beach County employee, told investigators that she did not see the vehicle on the bridge until she closed the bridge. The county terminated the bridge tender for violating policies, including visually checking the spans. She declined an on-camera interview and told Contact 5 over the phone Her view from the bridge was obstructed, and she just didn't see the car on the bridge. Contact 5 started digging into bridge tenders following the tragic death of 79-year-old Carol Wright February 6th after the Royal Park Bridge opened while she crossed it.
When the bridge tender pushed that button to lift that bridge, that was basically giving Carol a slow mental and physical death sentence is all she did right there.
Attorney Lance Ivey, who represents Wright's family, said the bridge is owned by the Florida Department of Transportation and is manned by bridge tenders from a third party, Florida Drawbridge, Inc. The company didn't respond to repeated requests for comment, and the Florida.
Well, I was going to take you out to the drawbridge. I'm scared now.
Our goal is that will never, ever, ever happen to another family.
We're learning much more about this industry as we continue to investigate the incident. Please stay with Contact 5 for more on this story. Michael Butchner, WPTV News Channel 5.
I'm nervous now.
YouTube channel. Follow.
That's an old story. Did we see this?
Package thefts we know happen all the time, but what you don't see every day is the thieves getting caught.
One Houston man made sure the people who took his package would pay for it one way or another.
Janelle Bluter has the video showing the theft and the arrest. Janelle?
Surveillance video shows those people hit not one but two houses within 30 minutes of each other. But thanks to one of their would-be victims, they didn't get far. It was Saturday night in Montrose. You see a couple casually walking by, but they stop and notice something. The woman walks up, drags a box towards her, picks it up, and walks away.
My wife and I, we were watching TV at the time.
The owner of that now stolen package, who didn't want to be identified, got an alert from his camera. He saw what happened.
Immediately, we rushed down and, just trying to chase them.
He and his wife ran out the house, caught up with the couple, and confronted them.
At first, we said, hey, stop. You got our package. Everything is recorded. Give us back the package.
But they say the couple fought back, even denied taking it.
We noticed that besides our package, they also have something else on their hand.
30 minutes before, a few blocks away, the man was caught on camera inside a homeowner's gated front yard, grabbing an Amazon package, carefully closing the gate behind him.
After I said everything's on tape, they started to say that, we thought it was just the trash.
The couple eventually gave the package back and walked away.
By their reaction, they don't think there's consequence.
But that victim had already called 911. So he followed behind the couple, and minutes later, police arrived. Both suspects arrested for allegedly stealing what turned out to be laundry detergent.
We're just tired of it. We're just tired of this kind of stuff just happening over and over again.
But while it worked out for these neighbors, he doesn't recommend others do what they did.
Now that we think back, yes, it's very dangerous, but at the time we didn't think that much.
Police have charged the two suspects with mail theft, which is a misdemeanor. The man is also charged with fraudulent use or possession of identifying information, which is a felony. Back to you.
We'll pick it up from here. Thank you, Janelle.
They're going to jail for some laundry detergent. Laundry detergent. I didn't stutter. You know how embarrassing that is to call somebody and say, hey, can you come bail me out? What'd you get locked up for? Stole somebody's laundry detergent.
Just days after Russia invaded Ukraine, a Russian warship ordered Ukrainian soldiers manning a Black Sea outpost on Ukraine's Snake Island to surrender. What happened next made headlines around the world.
Damn, man.
It was the Go F Yourself heard round the world, and tonight we're learning the Russian warship that attacked Snake Island has been destroyed by Ukrainian forces. The Times of London reporting that the Vasily Bykov seen in this earlier video was hit during a firefight after the Ukrainians used a smaller vessel to lure the Russian ship closer to shore, where a hidden missile battery could open fire.
And rockets
This is video going viral online as that Ukrainian missile battery unloads on the Russian warship. After the missile stopped firing, you can see a small light in the video. That's the Vasily Bykov on fire, and the gunner is quick to celebrate his hit.
Попали, сука! Русский корабль, иди нахуй!
We effing hit them. Russian warship, go F yourself. This is video of the smoking vessel at dawn shared by Ukraine's Navy, which says the Vasily Bykov was destroyed. It's another victory for the defiant Ukrainian people and the forces protecting Odessa. As word spreads, more Russian forces are preparing to attack the Black Sea port city of Odessa at any time. Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great AB.
11 years ago. Three hours ago, breaking news.
While President Biden has vowed again and again that U.S. troops will not get involved in the war in Ukraine, Ukraine's government has actively recruited foreigners from many countries to join the fight. Over 20,000 have reportedly expressed interest, and many Americans, veterans, most of them are showing up daily, risking everything to take on the Russians. Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz visited the secret location in western Ukraine to meet some of those joining the fight. Hey, Martha.
The administration has said there are no U.S. troops here in Ukraine, no U.S. troops over the skies of Ukraine, but there are many Americans here right now, veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan and others who have volunteered to fight. We met Lane Perkins. He is a Navy veteran from San Diego. He left his wife and 2-year-old son, came straight over here, paying his own way because he wanted to join the fight. He said it is a fight for democracy, and he wants to fight here rather than the fight coming to the home front, he said. We also met another veteran, a Chicago police officer who quit his job, left his wife, came over here. He is a veteran of the war in Afghanistan.
Why don't you go out there and take war to the street?
Because of the botched withdrawal in Afghanistan.
You from Chicago. Why don't you go out there and patrol Chicago?
He said he does not want to see that happen here. But these men and the others from around the world who are in this secret location right now are doing very, very dangerous work. Terry?
Absolutely. Martha Raddatz in Ukraine. Thanks very much for that.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here.
So if they're in a hidden location, well, why would you do a story on them? So now Russia can start looking for them.
I'm Rebecca Ritters. Welcome to the program. Russian forces have carried out multiple airstrikes on a military training ground near Lviv in western Ukraine, killing at least 35 people and injuring many more. The assault brings the war closer to the border with Poland and threatens the relative safety of Lviv, where many Ukrainians have fled since the invasion began. In Kyiv, the mayor is telling residents to prepare to fight as Russia's military attacks civilian targets nearby.
Fire crews rushed to the scene after a mortar struck an apartment building on the outskirts of Kyiv. The artillery shelling started at around 6:30 in the morning. There are people living in these apartment buildings, civilians. This is a suburban area here. With Russia stepping up its bombardment of Ukrainian cities, including the capital, it's feared more and more civilians will be caught in the crossfire. Satellite images show Russian forces just 25 kilometers from central Kyiv. President Volodymyr Zelensky has promised Ukrainians will put up a stiff fight in what he's calling a war for the country's independence. We have no right to let up in the intensity of our defense, no matter how difficult it is. We have no right to let up in the force of our resistance. The enemy is bringing more columns into Ukrainian territory. The besieged port city of Mariupol continues to bear the full brunt of Russia's bombardment. The humanitarian situation is worsening by the hour for hundreds of thousands trapped without power, running water, or fresh food. In the nearby southern city of Melitopol, which has already been taken by Russian forces, residents turned out to protest against the alleged kidnapping of their mayor and to demand his release. As fighting rages, people in and around Kyiv will be hoping and praying that last-minute diplomacy could still spare them the worst of what has happened to other Ukrainian cities.
And DW's Matthias Bullinger is standing by for us in Kyiv. Matthias, fierce fighting on the outskirts of the city now. How is the situation there today?
It's the same as yesterday, the day before yesterday, and all the other days before, almost since the beginning of the war. There's fighting on the outskirts, ceasefires and fighting, fighting and ceasefires, and the Russian troops are regrouping, but they're not yet.
If they start bombing my
Most
street,
people have left
I'm
the
going
city
out and doing something. I ain't gonna sit here and wait to get blown up.
Have fled the city and are waiting outside. Those who are left are trying to stay at home as much as possible. There are roadblocks, etc., etc. It's pretty much like it has been for at least a week.
All right, well, let's take a look out. Overnight, Russia escalated attacks in the west of the country, firing several missiles at a military base near Lviv. What more can you tell us about that attack?
Yeah, there is some important military infrastructure in Lviv, and there have been bombs falling in that area before, or rockets rather hitting that area before, but it has stayed relatively calm after the first days of the war there, and now in a new round of attacks on strategic goals, Russia has shelled this military airbase. Similar things have happened to other cities that have been relatively peaceful in the past few days. From time to time, the Russians target one of these military airports or bases. Yesterday it was an airport and an oil stock, oil stocks near Kiev that had been set onto fire. So Russia is continuing to target the hinterland, the inland, with missiles and bombs.
Ukraine says that there are humanitarian corridors planned for civilians to be able to flee on Sunday today, and there's a renewed attempt to reach the besieged port of Mariupol. Has there been any progress on either of those things?
Well, these corridors, they seem to work from time to time on a smaller scale, but some of the worst hit cities, as Mariupol, have not yet been able to establish these corridors. The people there have been cut off from supplies and medical supplies, food, also infrastructure is destroyed, so there's a shortage of water, electricity is down for more than 10 days now, and I don't know whether this is going to happen today. It's failed every day. They try every day. The Russians promise to open a corridor, and then for some reason it collapses. There's shelling. The buses with medical goods that try to get into the city are shelled, or they can't even leave. So I try to be optimistic, but it's hard to believe that today it will work.
President Zelensky, in his latest address to the nation, accused Russia of creating what he calls pseudo-republics in Ukraine. What does he mean by that?
Well, there have been news that Russia is planning to do a referendum on a republic in Kherson. This is the only major city that is controlled by the Russians, and these republics would be modeled on the two republics in Donetsk and Luhansk that the Russians have established in 2014. That means they would declare their autonomy or their independence, and they would establish a rule, most likely a military rule or some kind of dictatorship like they have in Donetsk.
Намагаються повторити
Russia would most probably recognize them and they would split off the territory, because the Russian narrative is that Ukraine is not united and that the people in the Russian-speaking regions are unhappy with being part of Ukraine and are seeking autonomy. This is not the case. We have seen demonstrations against Russian occupiers in Kherson, despite the risk and despite people having been arrested on these demonstrations. And as I'm hearing now, we are also seeing again demonstrations against these plans for a referendum. So a significant part of the population is completely against these Russian occupiers. But for the Russian justification of the war, this narrative is of course crucial, and they're going to push it through, it looks like.
All right, Matthias, thank you for that update. DW.
While President Biden has vowed again and again.
Put chat up real quick. Christian. Ever since, what was it, 1941? When did Pearl Harbor happen? The United States has not fought a war on its own soil since Pearl Harbor. We got snuck by the Japanese, remember? That's the last time that we fought a war that I can think of on our own territory. So we haven't had no bombings, none of the stuff that you seeing the people in Ukraine going through. And this is why I said, and the videos are up, sir. The videos are up. What need to be done is Ukraine needs to take part of their military and send it, put it on a boat and send it to the other side and start shelling Russia like Russia's shelling them. And have the troops have to come back home to defend Russia. And try to sandwich them in. You ain't gonna beat them, but you can mix them up for a little bit. Maybe you get lucky and get a couple big hits. But for you to sit and wait for somebody to come attack you when you know they're coming, isn't it better to, as the forces are coming this way, send forces from behind on the other side of the country and make them have to turn around and go back and defend it. Make the people feel what your people feeling. Make the people in Russia feel what the Ukrainians are feeling. The people in Russia ain't feeling nothing because ain't nothing hitting them. But start letting some bombs hit some places in Russia. People are going to change their attitude quick. Right now, it's like a video game. Yeah, but they getting bombed and look at the people. Okay, whatever. It ain't us. That's the one thing the United States has been very smart at. They don't fight the wars on their own home country. They go to other people, countries, and fight wars. And that's what Russia's doing. The antidote. They'll feel it when some bombs hit their hospitals. They'll feel it when some bombs hit their nuclear plants. They'll feel it when some bombs hit their oil reserves. Right now, they're really not feeling it. They're not evacuating. The Ukrainians are. Now, they feeling it money-wise. But okay, we'll get our money back after we destroy the Ukraine and we'll take what they got. Is their thinking. but start dropping some bombs on some of their heads. A whole lot of them people that's talking trash, they're gonna stop. Christian, there can't be nothing more frightening than sitting there waiting for your turn. If you live in a country that's at war and the war being fought on your soil, you waiting. Because sooner or later, one of them mortars, one of them shells, one of them bombs is going to hit where you is. Now, you can sit there and twiddle your thumbs. You can go online and go on Instagram and Twitter and cry about it. Or you could pick something up and go out and try and bash somebody in the back of their head. You can go out and set booby traps for the military when they come in. Because they bomb you to make a pathway for the soldiers to come in. Them soldiers come in, everybody jump on them. They ain't expecting it. You can do a lot of damage. You might not win, but at least you defended your territory. The bombing is to make you leave. So they can come in and say, hey, now we got control of North Baltimore. Let's bomb South Baltimore. Now we got control. We ain't bombed everybody and left. Let them come walk through there to assess what they did. And let a whole bunch of people come out there and start cutting their heads off and start stabbing them and cutting them and beating them. They be in a panic. They regroup. But by that time, you be gone. Setting your next trap. You say I'm crazy, but it could work if the people could unite. You said if Russia invades Baltimore, will you fight or leave? I ain't got no place to go. Where am I going to go? Is somebody going to donate for me to get a bus ticket? Where am I going to go? That's a better question. That's my point, because what happened when I get there? Wherever the bus ticket is for, what happens when I get there? Where am I going to stay? Where am I going to live at? Hopefully, Biden ain't dumb enough to have the war here. Hopefully, they will send troops over there. Unless it's an evacuation and they make us go, I ain't going nowhere. I be looking at them like, y'all ain't done yet. do what you got to do and go home. Back where you came from. That's 7 days ago. Why are they showing that?
Very latest now on all of this. ABC's Maggie Rulli is in Ukraine. Ines de la Quatera is in Poland. And Alex Perche is in Washington. So, Maggie, to you in Lviv in Ukraine there, where does it seem the Russians are targeting? It looks like there's been a kind of stasis almost on various fronts. I mean, there's steady, slow, minimal advance. But where is the Ukrainian government concerned that the Russians are making gains? And does it feel the same way to you that we've been kind of stuck with the same map for a while?
Yeah, exactly, Terry. I mean, we know that there's that slow convoy slog moving towards Kyiv. Kyiv is still a major area of concern. We know the Russians are so intent on encircling Kyiv and really taking over the capital that they've made a few miles outside of the city. There were 2 airstrikes there today, one on an apartment building. Civilians were killed in those attacks. So we are seeing so much focus on the capital right now, but also on the eastern front. That also remains a really hot area with these attacks. And down south, those southern border towns, you know, they're major ports right there. It's so important for the Russians to get to control of them. It's right near Crimea. They want to go all the way to Odessa. So we're seeing a ton of fighting in places like Mariupol still. We're having more strikes, more shelling, more bombings. They really have just been relentless there. That's where we're seeing those horrific photos of things like bombing on maternity wards, civilians not being able to escape, no humanitarian aid being allowed in. Now, those are the 3 sort of main areas, but also a big concern, Terry, is this movement west. We know we've had airstrikes near the border of Poland. There have been growing concerns about airstrikes in other Western cities as well. So again, the focus on the capital, east and south, but definitely new growing concerns on the Western front as well.
Absolutely. And let's get to that on the other side of the border. Inez, in Poland, I want to ask you about the strike Maggie was just talking about on a military training ground just 10 miles inside Ukraine from the border with Poland. Ukrainian officials, they say at least 35 dead, 134 wounded. That's a major strike. I understand you spoke with some of the survivors who were foreign fighters. That was a staging ground for foreign fighters. What can you tell us?
Hey, that's right, Terry. We were at a refugee center yesterday, about 45 minutes from that military base, and we were actually speaking with refugees who just come in from Western Ukraine when a bus pulled up with a group of soldiers on board, a group of men. That in and of itself was a strange sight because it's typically women and children at these refugee centers. But on top of that, these guys were wearing uniforms bearing the Ukrainian flag, and yet they weren't speaking Ukrainian. They were speaking in English to each other. So we approached them, we spoke to them, and they did tell us that they were foreign fighters, volunteer foreign fighters who were at that military base this morning and had to be evacuated. So they described waking up that morning in a panic when the missile strikes first started to hit. We spoke to one American fighter who described the scene, and here's what he had to say.
This morning we wake up, there's missiles flying everywhere. I don't know if it was cruiser missiles or it was an airstrike. Then we left the base. The base got bombed 2 more times after we left. The base is completely bombed. Oh yeah, it was a hell of chaos. There was bombs coming from like left and right. You're just praying to God it doesn't land near you.
And you mentioned it, but Ukrainian officials say at least 35 people were killed, 134 wounded. The Russians estimate that number is much higher. They're saying it's closer to 180 people killed. The people we spoke with at that refugee center were all foreign fighters, people from the U.S., the UK, France, Ireland. They say that base was a hub for foreign fighters, that foreign fighters were crossing the border and then being brought to this base where they were trained and then deployed to other parts of Ukraine. And these soldiers we spoke with feel that Putin hitting that base was Putin sending a message that he's not afraid to strike Western soldiers and Western military supplies, Terry.
No question. That base clearly annoyed, at the very least, the Russians that Americans or other fighters would come in to combat Russians, and he wanted to snuff that out. Maggie, I want to go to you on what almost is a positive in all this, and that's the way that President Zelensky has met this moment. Despite having a huge target on his back, we saw those pictures. He walked down the streets of Kyiv to this hospital where he met with injured soldiers. I'm just thinking of the contrast between Putin, who's been in isolation, at the end of those ridiculously long tables or remote across a vast hall. He's very close, despite, as I say, Russia wanting to number his days in the single digits. There he is. And I was going to ask you, have you got a sense of how his leadership has gone down with the Ukrainian people? He was struggling politically before all this.
And that's what's so interesting, Terry. Now, though, he's a hero. I mean, you can sense it in the people here. Everyone we speak to just has this resilience, this urge to fight. We spoke with one woman, a grandma, who was escaping from the east. She made it here to Lviv, and she said she's not leaving. She's going to keep fighting. She's not going to stop this. She's looking towards the leaders, and she says, we're going to win. And Terry, it was so interesting. I had the chance to sit down remotely with one of President Zelensky's top advisors. He's the lead negotiator here in Ukraine. He's been negotiating with the Russians. He spent all weekend with President Zelensky, and I asked him that question. I said, what is it like right now when you're talking to the president? We know that people are after him, that Russia has tried to assassinate him, that all of those leaders are under threat right now. And he said, Zelensky is a fighter. He's never going to stop fighting. That's all he kept saying to me. He said, of course, I'm scared, but that's not going to stop. We have to stay here in our offices. We have to stay here fighting on the front lines because that's what the people of Ukraine expect. And we're not going to let our people, we're not going to let our land down. So, despite all of this threat, all of this violence, they are not giving up.
And that leadership that Zelensky is demonstrating, an intangible asset right now, it seems, for the Ukrainian nation and armed forces. Alex, Zelensky's going to be here in Washington talking to members of Congress on Wednesday. What do you expect to hear? Via Zoom, of course. I didn't intend to say he's going to be here. He'll be here via Zoom, but he will be addressing members of Congress. And what do you think he's going to be saying?
Well, Terry, in that virtual address, I suspect President Vladimir Zelensky will renew calls for the closure of the skies. We've seen them call for air support from NATO countries, specifically the U.S. It's been a hard line. President Biden has said that he would not acquiesce to that request because essentially it would be the start of World War III. But today we are actually getting at least one member of Congress, Senator Lindsey Graham, because
he's not Ukrainian,
to soften to the idea of a no-fly zone
in
the region, saying that if Russia did actually commit war crimes, which evidence is pointing in that direction, that would justify and he would then support a no-fly zone. Something else that I suspect that President Zelensky will start to talk about this Wednesday is, again, this U.S. intelligence that Russia has reached out to China for not just financial support, but potentially military support, and the growing concern on that front to see if there are other things that the U.S. can provide, whether they be additional arms or money towards arms to support these Ukrainian troops.
And then there's the question. Thank you, Alex, of the support for all the Ukrainians who have had to flee their homes. And as more than 2.8 million people now, we are told, have fled Ukraine so far. Millions more. What can you tell us about the latest refugees who are escaping and how many more are expected?
Hi, Terry. Yeah, and the numbers keep climbing. It's been interesting to see on the ground here. It's almost like there's been different waves of refugees. So in the beginning of the crisis, it seemed to be wealthier people who were coming here. They had the resources to take time off from work, to get a hotel here in Poland, wait the crisis out even before the war broke out. Then it seems that there was a second wave of people coming in from eastern Ukraine, so hard-hit eastern Ukraine. That wave of people was coming in with a lot less, just like a small backpack or a small suitcase, maybe just pets or their children in their arms. But that was the second wave of refugees. And now it seems like we're starting to see a third wave of refugees coming in from Western Ukraine. We were at a refugee center yesterday where volunteers, they said that they had already started to see in the last couple of days an influx in the amount of people coming in from Western Ukraine. We spoke to two young moms who were from Lviv. They told us they had been hoping to ride it out in Ukraine. They didn't want to flee. They didn't believe the fighting would spread to Western Ukraine. But then they were awakened awakened yesterday by those explosions at the Yavoriv military base, and that's when they made a game time decision to flee. So their husbands actually drove them to the border yesterday, right after those explosions, said goodbye to them at the border, and they didn't have a plan. They had just arrived in Poland. They didn't know where they were going to go. They were just, fleeing in a panic. So that's the concern here, that we're going to start seeing a large influx of people coming in from Western Ukraine.
And every single one of those people has a story of displacement, of loss, of separation. Alex, Ines, Maggie, thanks very much for that.
All righty. All right, y'all. I know it's only 9:48. I'm yawning my behind off. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go. I got to go in here and set these speakers up, cook something to eat, and probably take a nap. I hate to say it. I'm tired. We'll look at the footage tomorrow. It's still transferring over from the camera. So we'll look at the footage from today's trip. And the weather supposed to be nice tomorrow too. So we're going out tomorrow for a bike ride. It won't be as long as that one, but we're going out tomorrow for a ride. And the next day, it's supposed to be in the 60s up till Thursday. Then I think it dropped back Friday, and then it pick up again next Monday. So we're going to be out. Every day that it's warm, I'm going to be out. So we're going to have a backlog. By not seeing the footage tonight, we're going to have a backlog because we'll have footage from tomorrow. But I'm definitely going out tomorrow and the next day. The weather is beautiful. I don't care if I ride in a circle around the building. We getting out. The gas is $4 or $5 a gallon. Y'all act like it's $30 a gallon. That been so daggone cheap. Come on now. Y'all act like it's $30 a gallon. I used to drive for a living. I remember you used to be able to put $5 in the tank and ride around for 3 hours. And I remember you put $5 in the tank and you was back putting $5 in again in an hour and a half. I know the difference. I used to like to get the premium gas. You get the regular gas, you could take a $5 bill and get 3 gallons. On a good day, on a bad day, that $5 bill will get you a gallon .002. I know what it's like. But unless you driving for a living, you driving a truck, you delivering stuff, delivering people. If you just driving back and forth to work, maybe you driving to the Walmart. Maybe you taking your kids to Little League or soccer. That's not going to hurt you that much. The difference between paying $3 a gallon and $4 a gallon. Oh, Jesus. It's $1. That means you can't get no extra ketchup on your French fries. That means you got to have your $1 hamburger and your $1 water along with your $1 fries. You ain't going to be able to get the $1 soda. It ain't bad yet. When it hit $10 a gallon, when it hit $15, then start crying. Right now it's cheap. Because you ain't saying nothing to the people that's paying that. I don't know what y'all tax is in y'all state, but the people that drink alcohol, there's a tax now on top of the state tax. So if you was able to get say you was able to get a 99-cent bottle of say you got a 24-ounce can of Molson Ice, that cheap Canadian beer, you was paying 99 cents. With the sales tax, you was paying $1.06. Now you're paying $1.50. Oh, we paying $1.50 now. Oh, you won't find that 50 cents if you got to dig in the sofa. Same thing with the gas. You got to get somewhere. You gonna find that money to get there. There ain't no reason to go out there and start marching in the streets because the gas went up to $5 a gallon. Maybe it's time to get an electric car. Maybe it's time to get an e-bike. They make electric motorcycles, you know. Charge them up. Go ride where you got to go. But if you paying $1 more a gallon, put you in the poorhouse, you can't afford that car. I remember when a brake job was $40. Now they try to get $250 for it. The brakes ain't changed. But if you're driving, you find a way to pay it. Or you get you a shade tree mechanic. You're going to find a way. There ain't no bombs dropping on your house. Well, I'll gladly pay $1 more. Ukrainians can't drive right now. They don't know when a daggone bomb gonna fall on the daggone street. You drive right into it, boosh. The bomb explodes, your car gonna explode. You remember when gas was 55 cents a gallon? I remember my step-grandfather. I had came from church with my grandmother, and I had mowed the lawn. So they used to make money on the side mowing lawns. And he said, "You want to come ride with me?" I said, "Sure." He had a 1975 or 76 Gran Torino. For those of y'all that don't know, the Gran Torino looks similar to the Dukes of Hazzard car. Not as slick, but it looks similar. Big 8-block engine. And I remember he went to the gas station and he put a quarter worth of gas in that big engine. He put a quarter's worth. What would a quarter do you right now, Trisha? I wasn't talking about gas costs. I said a brake job. I remember when it cost $50 to get a brake job done. Now they want anywhere from $150 to $249. The last time I went to have one done, because I went from place to place trying to find out who was the cheapest. Well, some people do their own taxes. Not everybody. Shoot. That's why I say, you know, If there were some soldiers marching down my block, I would go out there and tell them, "You trespassing. What you doing here? Your issue is with the president and the Congress. Your issue ain't got nothing to do with me. Get the hell off my block." They say, if you don't get back in your house, we're going to kill you. I'm going to go back in my house and grab something. And I'm going to try and take out as many as I can till I run out of gas or I get killed. You don't run from home. You don't run from home. If you run from home, you run from anywhere. I say it again, if you run from home, you'll be running the rest of your life. I truly believe that. This place ain't the best place in the world, but goddamn it, it's mine. And if you run, you'll always be running. We had no desire to be in the roast sector, but we kept getting attacked. I could have ignored them. But you don't run from home. It's my channel. You don't run from it. You don't run. If somebody can run you out your home, they can run you anywhere. That's why I had a problem with them refugees coming out of where were they coming out of? Crap, I'm going a blank. The country underneath Mexico that start with a C, where them people was migrating. That big bunch of people, if they each would have picked up something in that damn hand and they rushed the Capitol, wherever the president was, the rest of the world would be up in arms and would have to come help them people if they had the courage to do it. The same way people are going to help the Ukraine. If you're a fighter and people see you fighting, they'll join you. But if you running, don't nobody want to join no loser, no coward. Them people had went and rushed their own capital instead of trying to run to the United States. Yeah, there would have been casualties. But they can't kill all of you. And the ones that make it, grab that president and cut his head off and hang it somewhere and come out there and say, this is our country now. You with us or you against us? This is our country now. Half the soldiers is going to stay loyal to the dictator and the other half is going to join you. That's how you start a rebellion. You cut the head off. You ever seen something with no head wiggle around? Don't know where to go. That's what they do to the gangs. If you can get the top leaders, the rest of the gang splitters and starts fighting with each other. If you can get the generals and lieutenants to start, the sergeants to start fighting each other, they doing your work for you. You said change is only effective when blood is shed. But when the Russian soldiers fought the Ukrainian soldiers, they got pushed back. They're using bombs and mortars and shells to weaken the spirit of the people. They ain't done much against the soldiers in their hand-to-hand fighting. They ain't good as they thought they were. That's why they're resorting to using the bombs. And that's why I said I think the Ukrainians should be bombing them back. The Russians knew that those soldiers were sitting right there. Them foreign soldiers were setting up camp right there. And they bombed the hell out of it. Where are the Russian soldiers camped out at? Why hasn't the Ukraine bombed the hell out of them? Somebody talk to me, y'all listen. Somebody talk to me, y'all listen. Why isn't that the people that's leaving can't leave? Because the Russians got the roads blocked. Why don't they drop a couple mortars on them Russians and free that road from being blocked and drive them back? They scared? They already bombing you. What you scared of? They bombing maternity hospitals, killing your kids before they even been born. What the hell are you scared of? Well, if we bomb them, they might bomb us back. They already bombing you. If you want to take their heart, hit them. Wherever you know it's a soldiers in camp there, drop some missiles on them. See if they turn tail and run. You ain't gonna know till you find out. But sitting still, waiting for them to attack you, and you just sitting there, oh, the Russians are being unfair. That's not gonna win you the war. If they cheating, then you got to cheat too, and cheat them. Sneak them from behind. Russia supposed to have the greatest army in the world, but their army ain't doing nothing. It's their missiles. So the scientists that made the missiles is winning the war. The dweebs is winning the war, not the soldiers on the ground. Let that marinate. The geeks, the nerds, the spaz is winning the war. The foot soldiers ain't doing much. Let that marinate. See, this is when man start to inject his own thoughts and feelings into a situation. What did God tell the Israelites to do when they went to war? Kill everything and burn everything. Don't take nothing of theirs. And don't bring back none of their women. Kill their children so they can't grow up to avenge their parents. Leave their women over there so the women don't come and influence you with their idols. So they can't cause you to be separate from God. That's how a war supposed to be fought. That's what God said. Don't believe me? Go look it up. He punished people. You brought the women back. We told you to kill everything. You brought that jewelry back. Told you to kill everything and leave it, burn it. Why are you bringing stuff back? Why? The Lord told the Israelites, let the priest carry around the holy tent of holies and let them walk around the city walls for 7 days. Then the priest will blow the trumpets 7 times. Then you go get them. We ain't waiting on the Lord. We gonna go take them now. And they go in there and got slaughtered and got chased back out. Then they was ready to listen. And they did that. The walls just fell down. They just fell. And they went in there and killed everybody. People thought they were safe behind the wall. The wall just fell down. Just, you know what I mean? It's like somebody in the shower and got the shower curtain on and don't realize the shower curtain is see-through on the other side. It's not a matter of murder. It's a matter of self-preservation. There's this life, and then there's the next life. You can't put everything into this life. That fear of combat. If you watched the show yesterday, I told you, to be a follower of Jesus, you have to die. If I have to die to defend what's mine, I'd rather just die. If the Russians are going to come over here and try to get me to follow their language and to follow their religion, and no, I'm going to stand devout. I don't believe in your God. I don't believe in your phony religion. You came over here. I didn't come to you. Why I got to change everything so I can live under your titty? I can live under your armpit. I'd rather go down trying to destroy your armpit rather than set up and live under it. If it's time for me to go, it's time for me to go. But better to die a man than to hide out the rest of my life as a coward. Some of y'all rather be cowards and see it. And I'll see you. Actually, I won't see you if I'm lucky. I won't see you get thrown in the pit if I'm lucky. I won't meet you in Sheol and Hades. Hopefully, I won't see you. Just because they're a Christian country don't mean that they follow the real Christianity. You know how many different versions of Christianity that is? Like 30 of them, ain't it? Baptist, Catholic, Roman Catholic, Orthodox Catholic, Jewish people supposed to be Christian. You got Jews, Orthodox Jews, unorthodox Jews. You got Muslims, Orthodox Muslims, unorthodox Muslims, Nation of Islam. You got Protestants, evangelicals, Mormon. Do I need to keep going? Do I need to keep going? Actually, Tristan, you are correct. They aren't Christians, but they do believe in God the Father. I don't think they believe in Jesus. It didn't benefit them to believe in Jesus. By convincing everyone that they were the Israelites talked about in the Bible, the New Testament makes them not special anymore. The New Testament doesn't make them special anymore because the choice was given to all people. They don't want the choice to be for all people. That's why they don't believe in the New Testament. There ain't nothing special about them if you believe in the New Testament. The gift of grace is for everybody. So they're not separated as a special people anymore. But they never were the people. The point was how many religions there are. It doesn't matter whether or not Islam is the same. It's Orthodox Greek and unorthodox Greek and regular Greek and Roman Catholics, unorthodox Roman, Orthodox Roman, Romanian Catholics, unorthodox Romanian Catholics, Orthodox Romanian Catholics. My comment was on the different versions. You saying apples and oranges? I'm addressing the point that you made. You said Jesus is not God. Jesus was God first creation. God gave Jesus the power. God says Jesus does. Without Jesus, you can't do nothing. Because the authority has been handed over by God to Jesus. If you want to believe he was just a man, then okay. We'll see you on Judgment Day. God didn't give us free will. We took it. When did God give us free will? He told Adam and Eve to leave them two trees alone. So when did he give people free will? Under the influence of the devil, and the beheading, Adam and Eve ate from that tree. They were told not to eat from it. So God didn't give it to them. They took it. They stole it. So what are you talking about, sir? I'm waiting for your response. They got the free will after they ate from the tree. They were told you can eat from every tree but these two. Leave them alone. After they ate from it, the two trees were guarded, so they couldn't eat from it again. Did the devil have free will? I told you I believe that he was supposed to come down here and train Adam and Eve. And he said, hell no. I'm not going to go watch you make them out of dirt. You think I'm going to go down there and worship them? They can't do nothing. They can't fly. They helpless. They just sitting there looking stupid. You think, shoot, no, I'll make them worship me. But now we 5,000 or 6,000 years later, and it's been known for the past 2,200 years what's going to happen to the devil. He ain't repented. That tells me he has no free will. If I know what's going to happen to me, and I'm supposed to be a super being, and I ain't got the brain cells to say heck no, he ain't acting on his own free will. I'd have been came back, and I'd have said, forgive me, I have sinned. Don't throw me in that pit for 1,000 years. Don't extinguish me in that furnace. It's written. It's been written how it's going to end. And he ain't made no changes because he was made to do this. If he had free will, he would stop. He thought that he trumped God when Jesus was put on the cross. Never occurred to him that they were allowing him to do what he was doing. Jesus' death meant defeat for sin it meant defeat for the devil and his angels. And instead of them saying, you know what, we got whooped, we want to just give it up. Let's go home. Instead, been making things worse every year ever since. Where's his free will? To say, Jane, stop this crazy thing. Let me off this ride. Where's his free will? He doing what he was made to do. Nia, before they ate from the tree, they didn't know right from wrong. They didn't know anything. They were just two beings that was in the garden. Everything was given to them. Everything provided for them. But the person that was supposed to guide them led them astray. Once they bit that apple, they knew they was naked. Once they bit that apple, they knew that them animals could hurt them. Before, they didn't give it a thought. The animals came and they didn't touch them. The ground gave them whatever they wanted. Now they had to work it. They could walk around butt naked. No red ants tried to mess with them. No poison ivy. Y'all understand? No bees stung them. Once they bit that apple, they separated themselves from God. And now they was on their own. They had to provide their own food, provide their own drink. If they wanted meat, they had to trap animals. The animal didn't come lay down and let them kill them because they told them to. They had to work for everything. Underneath the guise of free will. You know what? That's exactly what we were intended to be. Mud duck. That's exactly what we were intended to be. We were supposed to be singing and dancing for God's prayer. What do you think gonna happen when the new earth comes? What do you think we're gonna be doing? We were created to worship, sing and dance for God. That's what we were created for. If the devil hadn't ruined them plans, we'd be doing that right now. Still be walking around butt naked. And wouldn't nobody care because everybody be naked. Wouldn't know no better. We still be living in a garden. The animals will come up to us. We ain't got to go hunt them. Would have been a beautiful world. Tristan, are you drinking? You said it was not free will, it was knowledge they gained. It was the knowledge that gave them the free will. When they bit that tree, things were opened up to them that they didn't know. Like you said, they were basically robots. God wanted something that looked like him. That he can come down here and hear singing and dancing and joyful. And he gave them everything they needed. All they needed to do was create some more people. And all their needs were taken care of. But somebody wanted more. Her name was Eve. And the devil played on that and convinced her to go against God and take a bite of that apple. And she tasted that apple. And she got that knowledge. And then she thought, wait a minute. I might be killed. Because God said you'll surely die. I took this apple so that I could be above Adam, not below him. But now, if it's just me, I might be killed. So let me go convince him to take a bite of this apple. And maybe he won't kill the both of us. And she tricked him and coerced him into taking that apple. Telling her all the things that she found out. Things he didn't know nothing about. He wanted to be smart too. You don't want somebody to go ahead of you. Especially when you're supposed to be over him. So I understand the psychology. But once they both tasted that apple, once they both saw they didn't die, because the devil thought they would get killed right away. And they didn't. They started to say, well, shoot, I might have to get my own food now. The animals might attack me now. But I can do what I want. The same way the devil kept the priests from telling the people about Jesus so that when he came, they wasn't ready for him. Why did we need a John the Baptist to make the way? Why did somebody have to make the way for the Lord? Why did somebody have to make the way for the Lord? Because the clergy wasn't telling the people the truth about the Messiah. Yes, Jesus was. %80 of the time. 80% of the time in the Old Testament, when somebody refers to God, they're referring to Jesus. That's why when Sinetta TV said that Abraham wrestled with God, how is it that nobody's seen the face of God? Abraham wasn't wrestling. Was it Abraham or Jacob? They wasn't wrestling with God. It was wrestling with Jesus. That cloud that followed the Israelites around, that was Jesus in that cloud. You say I'm mixing Bibles. Well, all that sound good, but then you got to explain this. See, I love when somebody challenges. All right, then, Mr. Muslim man, explain this. Now, before we start, let me establish and remind you of a few things. We know that Jesus is known as the Lamb. Jesus is known as the light. Jesus is known as the Word. So let's look. That which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our own eyes, which we have looked at and our hands have touched. This we proclaim concerning the Word of life. Who is the Word? Who is the Word, sir? Jesus Christ. The life appeared, we have seen and testified to, and we proclaim to you the eternal life, which was with the Father and has appeared to us. We proclaim to you that we have seen and heard, so that you also may have fellowship with us. Hold on a sec. What translation is this? That's a new. Oh, that's 1 John. My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. That's 1 John. Hold on a sec. We need the Gospel of John. My bad. Gospel of John. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, you ready? In the beginning was the Word. In the beginning was the Word. We know that the Word is Jesus. In the beginning was the Word. We know that God says and Jesus does. That's why he's called the Word. And the Word was with God, and Jesus was with God. And the Word was God, and Jesus was God. Jesus was with God in the beginning. Through Jesus, all things were made. Without Jesus, nothing was made that has been made. In Jesus was life, and that life was the light, another word for Jesus, of all mankind. The light, which is Jesus, shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Can I read this again? In the beginning was Jesus, and Jesus was with God, and Jesus was God. Jesus was with God in the beginning. Through Jesus, all things were made. Without Jesus, nothing was made that has been made. In Jesus was life, and Jesus was the light of all mankind. Jesus shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So we learn here that Jesus was with God from the beginning. That's why I call him God's first creation. What was Jesus' purpose? To do God's bidding. Jesus deals with things that God don't want to deal with. The same way you have a president that has a vice president. You have a kingpin, a mob boss. His number 2 man does the dirty work. He can keep his fingers clean. That's why when people say that Moses saw the face of God, he saw the face of Jesus. Now, let me go see what he got to answer with. Christian said, do you stop? So you are telling us 2,000-year-old lies. Wait, Jesus afterlife already here? It ignorant. So Jesus became the universe. Show me something different. This is the Gospel of John. Show me something different. Show me something different. In the beginning was Jesus, and Jesus was with God. Jesus is God. Jesus was with God in the beginning. Through Jesus, all things were made. Without Jesus, nothing that was made has been made. In Jesus was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. It's also Jesus Christ who's going to decide whose light gets to shine, whose spirit gets to continue on, and who gets thrown into the lake of fire. But I'm listening. I made my case. Let me go look at the chat. Let me see what Tristan got to respond with. I made my case. It's right there in the scriptures. Beat it. Knock it down. Chop it up. The defense rests his case. Do you not understand? After hundreds of years of trying to get his chosen people to do what he wanted. What did God want? What is David famous for? Leading the people into dancing and singing for the Lord. God still wants that dream. that was supposed to happen in the garden. But the devil messed it up. He's been trying to get that back. Even to the point of wiping the whole planet in the flood. Even to the point of separating a certain people. I can't get everybody to come worship and dance before me, but maybe if I choose my own people. That didn't work. God realized you can't make. See, if he never put the two trees there, that's what we be doing right now. Was that a mistake or was it planned? I don't know. But I do know that human beings can't be made to do anything they don't want to do. You can chain them up. You can beat them up. Sooner or later, they're going to do what they want to do. So they came up with plan C. Plan A didn't work. Plan B didn't work. They came up with plan C. Plan C was we have to get sin. Sin leads to death. Men were sacrificing animals. And the animals' blood was being shed and sacrificed instead of their own. People were still sinning. And they were gladly sacrificing the animals so they can keep sinning. When Adam and Eve, the only two perfect people in the world, because they were made perfect until they ate that apple. Until they ate that apple, they were made perfect. Every child that came out of them, and we all came out of them, is marked with that sin from birth. All of us. So who can take the place to reverse the sin? Who's perfect enough to atone? To atone means to make good, to erase, to eradicate. If I steal $5 from you and I give you your $5 back plus interest, I have atoned what I did to you. That was a crime committed. It was committed by Adam and Eve. That crime brought sin into the world. How do you erase it? How do you take it back? No man can. So Jesus let God put him in a human being's womb. You know how it must have really irked Jesus? Considering that he made Adam and Eve with his own damn hands to have to live in the body of something that he made. That is a humble person. And to be born and to be told what to do by people, he can snap his hands and they could burn up. He put up with us for 32 years. He let the Romans flog him. He let them place a crown of thorns on his head. He let them nail him to a piece of wood. That's how much he wanted us to succeed. They could have just as easily killed us and started over. They know now you can't make man come to them. Man has to want it on his own. And if he wants it, he's going to have to come through Jesus. And if your religion doesn't teach that, I'm sorry, I can't roll with you. Everything comes through Jesus. Because the same way he was assigned to craft our bodies, it was Jesus that breathed life into Adam and Eve. We are tied to Jesus since day one. In order for us to be acceptable to God, we must be washed in the blood of Jesus and in good standing. Because when you try to talk to God, when he looks down and sees your sinful stuff, he turns away. But if you got the shield of Jesus, his blood cleansing you, God can look down. See, this is something that your argument is forgetting. God can't stand sin. God can't be around sin. So how can God come down here and live with sinners? What text have you ever read where God came down here and lived with sinners? Well, what was Jesus known for? He hang out with the sinners. What kind of minister is he? He hangs out with the sinners. He's with the lowly people. That's what the Pharisees and the teachers of the law and the Sadducees said about Jesus. Let me look at the chat. You Christians are nuts believing that. Listen to this. Jesus is not God. That is the point, y'all. Put Jesus before God. God created life. God created Jesus. Jesus was, first of all, how was Jesus a Jew? The J word wasn't used until the 1500s. The Genova Bible was the first Bible that had the word J in it. J wasn't even a letter. It wasn't even a sound till the 1500s. Why is it that you pick up a Bible or a Quran and you see the word Jew in there? It wasn't there. It didn't come 1500. That's the first problem. Now, some people say that the tribe of Judah is where the term comes from. There wasn't no Judah. There wasn't no J. Answer that question. Jesus is a creation of God. The devil is a creation of God. The angels, Michael, Gabriel, the fallen angels, a third of them, they came down here and sided with the devil. The ones that came and messed with our women and produced all these giants, including Goliath. One of the main reasons for the flood was to get rid of these giants. And yet one still survived. Had to, because how did they produce Goliath? Somewhere in Noah's gene pool, somebody had that trait. I didn't say Jesus first, but you can't get to God without going through Jesus. But you saying, oh my God, but you ain't said nothing to contradict what I said. I ain't showed you what the scriptures say. Where does your scripture say different? Show it. Send me the link and I'll show it. We on the Reverend channel. I don't care if we get flagged. We already know that the J was added. Long afterwards. We talking about 3,000 years before Christ and 1,500 years after Christ, before the J sound was even used. Jesus' name was Iosus or Isus. We know that the term Jew refers to those nerds that got beat up by Hitler up in Greenland. We know this. We know that somebody got on a boat thousands of years ago and went up there and taught them people, and them people kept that knowledge and used it to get themselves Jerusalem. Jesus is supposed to give Jerusalem back when he come. So I ain't seen Jesus come. So how do we have the real Jews in Jerusalem? And Jesus didn't give it back to him. The United Nations gave it to him. They'll let you know there's a lie right there. That's the reason why they don't count the New Testament. As I said earlier, doesn't make them special anymore. That's why they ignore it. And they want to go around saying they God's chosen people. But I ask you this. God's chosen people are supposed to be sold as slaves all throughout the world. What people have been sold as slaves all throughout the world? Some people that was up there in Greenland? Nobody messed with them until Hitler went up there. Who are the people that have been in bondage all around the world? Surely you can't enslave a people if your own Bible says they the chosen people. So they allowed these nasty thugs from Greenland to say that they are the chosen people. The same way they got people to believe that Jesus had long flowing hair and that Jesus had blue eyes. How could you enslave a people that your Bible says is God's chosen unless you change it? And that's where the J got inserted into the Bible at. They would rather think that these nerds up there in Greenland is the chosen people than admit that the people they're enslaving is the chosen people. The same way your Quran says that Muhammad traveled down into Africa and started his religion. When the Babylonians hit, a lot of God's people ran down to Jerusalem. Ran down to Africa and set up camp and set up lives there. Most of those slaves that were sold by the Africans, they weren't Africans. They were the Israelites. They had no problem selling them. They don't belong to them, and they know it. That's why they had no problem selling them. But now you got a problem. You dependent on this free labor. How can you justify enslaving the chosen people of the Lord you follow? It's real easy. Make somebody else the chosen people and make people believe it. When you look at Egypt and you see the drawings on the wall, there ain't nobody there with blue eyes and pale skin. But they still convince you. Well, the pigmentation over the years have made it look darker than what they were. They send their own men and women into Egypt and other places to mix in with the people and lighten their skin up. Well, look at them now. Maybe it's possible. You know these things, and yet you still don't believe it. What I'm saying is not hard to imagine. What I'm saying is not illogical. But you will believe what's easy or accept it, right? If somebody tell you a lie enough, you start to believe it. But you can't dispute anything I've said. But I'll listen. I'll listen. We're listening. Them Jews in Hollywood ain't the chosen people. The Jews that's over here that ran from Hitler, the Jews that's down there in Jerusalem right now calling themselves God's people, they know. They know that it's a lie, but they'll take it. They know it, but they'll take it. They'll go along with it. That's why they keep to themselves and don't say much. Here in Baltimore, as soon as you cross Park Heights and Northern Parkway, big Jewish community. They don't say nothing. And you know what? Don't nobody bother them either. But they don't say nothing. You wouldn't know they were there unless you came out on Saturday. Because they can't do nothing on Saturday. Because they follow the Sabbath. They can't open a door. They can't do no kind of business. All they do is come outside and wander around. those are not the real chosen people. They imposters, but they gladly take it because it's better than being the whooping boy. They take that position. So there you go, Derek. Get your nose out of that Bible and look what's going on in the world. You haven't disputed a darn thing I said, sir. You ain't disputed one thing I said, and I'm not no scholar, but I know what I read. I know what I seen, and I put logic, not feeling, and not thought. You can't dispute anything that I said. I ask you this question. If the herbs are God's chosen people, how could the herbs do the most heinous slavery of anybody on this planet? When they went and got the slaves, the women's clit was cut off the minute they paid for them. The men's penises was yanked off, cut off. Then they took hot coals and tried to close the hole where the penis and the clit was. Hot coals. And then made them march miles upon miles through the desert. Those are the most sick, evil, vicious people in the world. And you wonder why they do the crimes to each other over there. They've killed more and enslaved more of God's people than the Spanish, more than the European, whether that be the white people in the United States and white people in England. They have killed 10 times as many more people. And yet you want to tell me that they live in the Holy Land. Really? But I'll listen. You said I disputed you when I said Jesus is not God. I said Jesus is God's first creation. I also told you that the devil was God's creation, that the angels was God's creation. But as far as us being created, Jesus came down here. Everything you say that says God, Jesus did the work. That's why he's called the Word. God says and he does. God says and he does. He's the one who decides whether or not you are acceptable to God or not. Without Jesus, you can't do nothing. And you haven't disputed not one thing that I've said, sir. Instead, you keep telling me, we still listening. I gave you fact after fact. You ain't done nothing but say smart comments. I giving you fact after fact. Everything that I said makes sense. You ain't said nothing that made sense. I took you from the woodshed out to the barn, out to the field, through the country, and brought you back to the farmhouse. You ain't took me nowhere. You just throwing insults. You haven't disputed not one thing I said. I took you up, I took you down, I took you around, I took you to town. All you got is smart comments. Convince me. Convert me to your way of thinking. I'm just hitting you with facts. I'm not telling you what I think. I ain't telling you what I feel. I'm telling you what I discovered. And I can stand here and say it just as plainly. And I'll say it again. Those people over there in Jerusalem ain't got no business being there. I'll say it again. They fake. They're imposters. So, like Mud Duck said, we'll see in the end. That's why the Jews don't want nothing to do with the New Testament. They don't want nothing to do with it. Matter of fact, for our sermon on Saturday, I think we're gonna look at one of the relatives of Noah, one of Noah's great grandchildren. Because I believe that's when we got the first white person on the planet. A descendant of Noah was so scared that he ran to his father and said, "What have I done? I got twins here. One of them look like me and one of them look white." We're going to cover that on Saturday. And you're welcome to come attend. Because there is a fact that we know. 2 black people can make a white person. 2 white people can't make a black person. 2 Chinese can't make a black person. But 2 black people can make a white person. You says who has the belt? So you ain't won nothing. How you got a belt? If you had a belt, you lost it. Yeah, I think you need to start drinking. Mother says first flaw in DNA, God not plan on sunspots rotation, change his plans. We can soon make dinosaurs already clone puppies. We going back a couple hundred years after the flood. You talking about what we can do today. We're going to go back a couple years before the flood. And I'm going to bring my presentation. And I'm giving y'all a chance to get your presentation. And we're going to present it to the people. Well, that's one of the reasons why we were so hated by the devil, because he can't do it. He can't create. All he can do is lie, cheat, and steal. Take from one person and give to another. That's all he can do. He can't make anything. He can't create anything. He needs us. We don't need him, but he needs us. He can whisper in our ear all day. If we ignore him, ain't nothing he can do. You know what woke me up today? We had 2 cold days in a row, but we had 2 warm days beforehand. That first warm day, my zapper went off 8 times. It went off 8 times. The 2 cold days, it didn't go off at all. You know what woke me up today? The zapper going off. But I haven't heard that zapper go off all day. There was 2 things that I didn't do last night. But one of them I did do. I did twice. I cleaned out baby's litter box. But when I woke up, she had went to the bathroom while I was asleep. Another mistake I made, because I had the drains covered up, and I had bleach in the toilet bowl with the lid down. I had bleach down the tub, and I had an inch of bleach water in the sink, and the bathroom door closed. But I had cooked some chicken last night, and I normally put the grease in the bowl and close it. And I fell asleep without doing it. So was it the grease sitting on the skillet on the stove, or was it the fact that Davey went to the bathroom while I was asleep? I don't know. But I know that zapper went off because it woke me up. I got up, put the grease in this bowl and put the lid on it. I cleaned out Davey's litter box. She only had 4 droppings in there. I haven't heard that zapper go off since. By me not doing what I'm supposed to do. Even though I had poured bleach down the drain, the kitchen drain, several times, and left a stopper on there and kept it closed. Even though I had kept 4 or 5 times a day, I'm spraying bleach down the drain. Every time I go into the bathroom, I not only spray the inside of the toilet, I flush it while I'm spraying. Then I spray the outside and the rim. Then I spray in front of where you stand at. Then I go to the sink I open the drain on the sink, turn the hot water on, and I spray bleach water down there for a couple seconds. Then I close it, but I keep spraying, and I let an inch and a half get in the sink. Then I spray around the sink. I sprayed around the front door. I sprayed around this was yesterday. I sprayed around the closet door. All my closet doors. I sprayed all the windows with bleach water. So even though Davey went to the bathroom while I was asleep, even though I left the grease out in the frying pan on the stove, that zapper went off this morning. It ain't gone off since, but it went off to wake me up this morning. By me not doing what I'm supposed to do, that's when the devil get to work. When you don't do what you're supposed to do, long as you do what you're supposed to do, he can't do nothing to you. Because I heard that zapper and I got up. And the first thing I did was check that litter box, clean it, sprayed around it. Second thing I did was drain the grease into the bowl, cover it up, and wash the pot out. I haven't heard nothing. And you haven't heard that zapper go off. So what's different? Me not doing what I had consistently been doing is the difference. As long as I do what I'm supposed to do, ain't much the devil can do to me. When I don't do what I'm supposed to do, even when we on the mobile eye, today, the camera, which had been on the bike for 3 days, it's been on the bike for 3 days. I didn't check it before we left. I don't know if you noticed several times the camera kept turning. I had to keep straightening it back out. So when we watch the video tomorrow, you're going to notice that it pans to this way a little bit. You're going to notice that. But why is that? Because I didn't check it before we left. So now we got to pay the consequences. I didn't check it before we left. When you don't do what you're supposed to do, you open the door. When you do what you're supposed to do, you untouchable. When you slack up, when you look the other way, when you walk by something you know you're supposed to do, you're supposed to fix or set up, you leave the opportunity. Why are you surprised when something go wrong? You didn't tighten it up. You let something or someone distract you from doing what you know you're supposed to be doing. You know your kid struggles with math. Do you help them at night? Do you make sure they're doing their homework? But you get mad at them when they bring home that F. You feel angry at the child. The child is angry at you. So you're separate from each other. Isn't that what the devil likes? You to be separate? He wants you separate from God. He wants you separate from Jesus. He wants you separate from anybody who loves you. He wants you separate. When you don't do what you're supposed to do, that's when evil comes in. Y'all notice that when I bring the bike down the steps, sometimes the chain comes off and you don't notice it until you start needing the pedal hard. And you say, wait a minute, the chain on the bike. But the last 3 times I've been out, I've been checking the chain as we come down the steps. It ain't happened. Well, why ain't it happened? It ain't happened because I'm looking for it. We didn't have, other than the camera kept turning and I would tighten it and it would turn back. That was the only problem that we had on the mobile live today. Have you ever seen a mobile live where we ain't had no issues? As long as we rode today, we didn't have not one problem. You want to know why? Because I've been in the house for the past 2 days and I tightened everything up. The only thing I didn't check was the camera. But what you think gonna happen tomorrow? What's the first thing I'm gonna check? What's the first thing I'm gonna check? I'm gonna check the camera. Cause see, I could say, well, it really didn't cause a problem today. Don't worry about it. And then we'll go off tomorrow and it'll fly off. When you see something that you know should be checked, if you like a clean house and you see a piece of paper fall on the floor, if you walk by it, if you see a child drop some food and you say, oh, I'll get it tomorrow. Well, guess what? A roach or fly will get it tonight. Then you be crying, oh, I got roaches and flies. If you allow things to happen, bad things will happen. If you stay on top of everything, everything goes smooth. If you let things get in between you and Jesus, you lose that connection. If you let people, problems, money, car, job, neighbors, relatives, you let them get in the way of that relationship. You allow people to get you to do things you know that Jesus and God does not approve of. You push them further away and bring those negative people closer to you. Now, somebody tell me what I'm saying is wrong. I will listen. I can tell you right now, I've been lazy. I took off the folder for the first time in 2 days. I haven't wrote down my weight or my sugar readings. But I got them right here on the phone. All I got to do is go in there and look at what the phone says and write it down. So even though I didn't write them, I got them right there. I'm still mad at myself because I forgot. But the beauty of taking the photo every day, When I was in the doctor's office seeing a cardiologist last week, I told him, here's the meter, look at it. He said, I don't have to look. I see him wrote down here. I handed him the phone and said, look. And he was able to look, see me standing on the scale and know I wasn't feeding him no jive. me knowing that I might slack off and not write them down. I take the pictures every day. I take the pictures every day when I do the readings. I don't know if that person's here or not. They can tell you. I send them the readings. I can go look in the Hangout. They right there. When you do what you're supposed to do, everything goes smooth. When you don't do it, things go wrong. We was in the market today. We went past the candy aisle. Don't you think I would have liked to got some candy? I found a cheaper solution. A cheaper solution. If I need to nibble, I'm going to nibble on these. I don't even like the taste of them, but I'll nibble on them. But also, I found the sugar-free Jell-O. It don't raise your sugar. I haven't had no Reese's. I ain't had no Snickers. I ain't had no gummies. No potato, no double egg potato salad. No cornbread. No cookies. No donuts. Man, I would kill for a chocolate covered honey dip. Or chocolate eclair with the lemon filling. Woo. Or even a powdered donut would taste good about right now. When they make a sugar-free one, we'll go look at it if it's affordable. We don't worry about things that we know will hurt us. Because see, when they take your blood and do that lab work, your body won't lie for you. When you get on that scale, the scale won't lie for you. When you use that glucose reader, it won't lie for you. But you can bounce around and try to beat the system and shut. I know because I did it. If I had started this back in 2016, who knows where I'd be right now? But as I'm drawing closer to Jesus, I'm starting to respect my body. The body I was given, I'm starting to respect it. When I first heard the news, oh, you got double heart failure, yeah. And the doctor walked out. I was like, well, I guess I'm dying. Let me have as much fun as I can. And that's what I did. Until I dropped dead. Well, I was allowed to get back up. And the next day I dropped dead again. And twice in the same shift, I dropped dead a third time. Three strikes and you're out. So I actually finished the shift. 12-hour shift. And I went to the hospital. And they treated me like I had the plague. Like they didn't even want to touch me. They was afraid I was a walking lawsuit waiting to happen. And that just takes all the will out you. You like, man, I must be dying. I must be dying. They let me out 9 days later and told me not to go to work. What do you think I did? Went right to work. When they put the pacemaker in and they put the stents in my heart, they had went through my groin. They said, you can't drive for 2 weeks. I drove out the hospital parking lot. And went right to work. Hard-headed. defiant, rebellious. I know what I'm talking about. I tried to beat the system and ain't had nothing but bad luck. I told you yesterday, ain't no halfway. You got to be all in or all out. Well, you know, I'm going to cut down on the sweets. You know, I might have me a Reese's today and then tomorrow. No, cut it out. Either get sugar free, take it out your diet. Stop trying to be halfway. Well, you know, I feel if I only have one every other day, that's one too many. Stop trying to convince yourself to let you do what you want to do. Do what you need to do. Stop worrying about what you want to do. Worry about what you need to do. Long as you focus on what you need, you ain't gonna have a problem. It's when you focus on what you don't need. That's when the problem comes. When you worry about stuff that you want to be worried about, but you really don't need it, that's when you get in trouble. When you can learn to do what you need to do at all times, watch how easy your life is for you. When you try to get things that you know you can't get, you try to do things you know you're not ready for, it ain't nothing but heartache. It ain't nothing but heartache. At all. Because I can tell you right now, I can go for a half a cheese a steaker with fried onions, extra fried onions, everything, provolone cheese. And I tried to make my own. Sugar went through the roof. Had to leave it alone. Had to leave it alone. My sugar's up right now because I was able to use the card that the health insurance gave me, and I was able to get some elbow macaroni noodles, and I got some ragu spaghetti sauce. That spaghetti sauce is driving up my sugar. It's keeping me in the teens instead of being, you know, in the 90s or 80s. It's keeping me in the teens. Doctor said 110 is great. So if I'm posting a 111 or 112 or 117, me personally, anything under 150 for me is good, since I was doing 270 something. But we've got readings that we down 89, 91, 93. But since we've been using the ragu sauce, I've been in the teens. When it run out, we're going to drop right back down. When it runs out, we're going to drop right back down. I got the wrong kind of Italian dressing. I don't know, it's that brand, but they give you the big bottle at such a low price. It tastes like dookie. It ain't the Italian dressing I was getting before. But it tastes like crap. And see, when you had the rice had its own flavor. I still strained it, but it had its own flavor. But the elbow macaroni, it doesn't have any flavor. So after I strain it, there's no flavor. Even if I boil it in some ragu, when I strain it, there's no flavor because it's not flavored with anything. There's no flavor at all. So I have to add some back, and that's where the spike coming from. Just to get some taste out of it, I got to add the sauce. I'd rather boil the sauce and strain it and let the noodles soak in what it can soak in and hold on to after being strained. But there's nothing for it to hold on to because it's just plain noodles. I didn't think about that when I got them. And I said I was supposed to got some rice tonight, and I forgot. But we still got a half a bag of the bird's eye garden medley vegetables. So we're gonna make that tonight. And tomorrow we might stop by the market and get some rice, or I might order some off of Amazon. But like I said, it's a choice. And if I leave out tomorrow and I don't check the camera, then I should lose it. The Bluetooth speaker wouldn't go on right either, but it wasn't a problem today. It was just annoying because it's supposed to be this way, not that way, but it was tight. It didn't move. So it wasn't a problem. And eventually during the ride, I was able to get it. It's just a little bit turned. But so, it ain't a big deal. But I'm just saying, if I leave out tomorrow and I don't tighten both of them things up, I deserve what I get. If I leave out the house tomorrow and don't tighten those two things up, I deserve what I get. I'll tell you something else you won't believe. The battery that was in the bike before, the original battery that came with the bike that we switched out, would you believe that that's plugged up? But the second battery that we added, I didn't plug that up. Why is that? Now, it's not a big deal because I'm going to put back the original battery that came with the bike in there anyway. And then I can just plug up the other one. But I got two chargers, so why not have it charged? Why not have both of them charging? See, suppose I had to go somewhere suddenly. The original battery is charged up over there, but the other one ain't. So I would have to switch batteries when I could just get on the bike and go. Just take it down steps and go where I had to go. It's just little things that you don't do come back later on and cause you big problems. So, all right, y'all, it's 11:42. As Nia would say, see you soon. As Chung Lee would say, don't leave the house without the wash spray. And as I say, I'm going to catch y'all tomorrow. Thank y'all for spending the day with me. And I will see y'all tomorrow. We're going on a bike ride. I don't know where we're going. We're just going to go ride around. So if y'all want to see scenic tour Baltimore, maybe we'll go around the lake. But, or maybe we'll go out. Belair Road be so busy. I'm trying to think of where I want to take y'all. I might go back down to the water and do the ride that we did the other day. I might just redo it. I might just redo the ride during the day. What do y'all think? During daylight hours. Did y'all like the difference of me being out there? Like I said, y'all saw the phone view. You ain't seen the 360-degree view yet. But I gave y'all some nice views today. You say it take a long dock to catch a shark. Take bike to go fishing. Well, when you gonna send us a video of you riding the bike, Mud Duck, so we can see what the GS9 can do? You said you hooked it up. When you gonna send us some video? When I'm promoting the bike, I need a video I can show. It don't belong to somebody else's. When you gonna send us a video of the bike? I mean, you know, the Plus is sitting there, the GS9 Plus is sitting there, and Bessie is sitting here. Matter of fact, I made the video on the e-bike channel. I ain't heard nothing from the seller, so I know we ain't sold nothing. Well, let me go back. Let me take a look. That's sad. That's sad. We only got 13 views.
I said, oh, we
only got 13 views. We're going to build this back up. This only got 15.
I'm trying to figure out where we are.
That's why I was asking, is the channel dying?
Okay, we just on the other side. We normally stop right there and we go around. So we started back there. I made the right. And we started back there. So we ain't got to go back to where we came. Cool. But we normally right there. And then we go around and see all the ships and stuff. We go over the little bridges. Right. That was fun, man. Now, I only got 2 hands. I got to put the mask on. This ain't gonna be easy. Oh, Lord, come on, man. The bullcrap, man.
Why is I'm never moving when I want to show a video? I mean, it's frustrating. Can we get moving? So, y'all, I want y'all to see this during the day. Y'all have only seen this at night. So we need to go show something during the day. All right. Now let's back out. Oops. I was just right there. What is it on? Okay, go to your channel. How did the video we looked at today? I just want to see from y'all angle. What did y'all see?
Hey, the bang me up there. I think that way, but it's a one way. I think it's how you get up there. Come on. Over here, better come down here and kill her.
That's it. Here we go. This is during the day. So we're going to have the 360-degree footage tomorrow. Doesn't look that good. But y'all can see we down there on the water. That's why I keep looking over. Make sure y'all can see the water. But like I said, we're going to have the 360-degree footage tomorrow. Just out of curiosity, is it up yet? Just out of curiosity, is the footage up yet? Is it decoded? Yeah, but it's too late to show it because everybody ain't went on to sleep. Let me just give y'all a little glimpse of it. Hopefully I landed in a good spot, I hope. You're going to take 50 years to play the video. Come on now. Wait a minute. No, I did. It's coming off the computer, right? Nah, it's coming off the camera. Nah, you don't want that. Hold on. Go to desktop. Go to action cam test. All right, let me see if I can see it here. It's got to be in one of these. But just take a chance. Open. Come on. But there's ways to hide it. Oh, I was a little bit off. Damn. You know, you just gotta be. I was a little bit off. So I would say here. Come here and pull it. All right, let's try that. Said it was 100 people that died doing that bombing. Still missed it. And they still wouldn't quit. Still missed it. How? Okay, let's go here then. All right. Over here. Oh no, we way too far back. Hold on. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Y'all, we're going to take a little glimpse. We're going to take a little glimpse. Hold on. They're giving y'all a little glimpse. There's our World Trade Center. There's your ship. All right, that was a little teaser. That was a little teaser for tomorrow. But you can see we definitely so let me go ahead and let y'all get out of here. Thank y'all for watching. Man, we've been on since 5 something between 2 videos. Sorry, y'all. As Nia would say, I already said that. I'll see y'all tomorrow. See y'all tomorrow afternoon. We're gonna take a chance and ride down, and we're gonna do that trip over that we did the other night, but we're gonna do it during the day. Hopefully, we don't get arrested. Hopefully, we don't get arrested, and hopefully, there won't be a lot of people in the way. But we're gonna redo the trip during the day, or maybe we'll go up a little higher and see what we can get into. Maybe we'll hit a different angle because the water goes all the way around. So maybe I'll go hit it from different angles. We'll see. So, all right, y'all. As Nia would say, see you soon. I already said that. Y'all have a good night. See you, Mud Duck, and everybody else. Peace, everybody. We out. Thanks for watching. We out of here.